Fucking John. I don't mind no man going out on a shield. That's not what happened just now. That's not what happened. He did the same shit against Joe Joyce. He could have gotten up on that 10 count, and he didn't. Dubois just now got up on that 10 count just fine. No staggering, no stumbling, nothing. He got up and walked over there just fine. That man was just fine during the Joe Joyce shit. He decided, I'm gonna take a knee because that jab lit his ass up and broke his eye socket. And when we get into boxing, there's been plenty of fighters before him and plenty of fighters at him that done fought with broken eye sockets, broken ribs, broken this, broken that, and kept rumbling. Put that aside. Tonight, he could have gotten up. He showed you he could have gotten up because on that 10 count, he got up and he walked to the corner just fine. He ain't stumbled, he ain't fall, he ain't nothing. He did not want to get up. He did not want to continue going. Terrible John. Terrible, terrible fucking John. Terrible John.
All right, here we have it here today. There's a lot of talk about the boys and Tszyu quitting. Okay? So, the thing about Daniel Dubois is he got dropped, right? He got dropped, and he walked off on his own validity. He got up, and then he walked to his corner after they waved it off. I played the guy's video. He's from Philly. I like his videos. And he also witnessed, Brian Norman get beat up by Boots and sparring. And, and he basically was like, yeah, Dan Dubois, and I didn't pay attention to it. He got up and he walked off. He got up and walked off. And, after they waved it off. I'm out here in the boonies. I'm like, you do the little circle turn, what you call it, the turnabouts. I didn't know I had to get over. He trying to speed up. I'm telling y'all, when you go out, one thing I'll tell you about living out in the burbs, they have no manners. They're very ignorant and very entitled. So when you move up, you get some bread. You know what I'm saying? You move on up a little bit, just know, that's the downside. They're entitled, they have no manners, and they're ignorant. And that goes across all demographics out here. They'll bump you or hit your car with it and won't say nothing. And that's what triggers I will fuck you up syndrome. It's one thing for you to bump somebody, oh, my bad, bro. You all right, cool, I get it, bro. It was a mistake. But then you go out there like, nah, now you disrespecting me. But nonetheless. So he peeped out that they waved it off and he walked to the corner. He could have got up. Now, from my perspective is this. I don't call none of them dudes quitter. That dude's a professional boxer. He can say it, right? He can say it. But what I will say, right, is that, and he brought up the fact that the Joe Joyce fight, he did the same thing or something similar. But what I will say is this. I think it wasn't from the punishment why he quit. I think it wasn't from the punishment why he quit. In my opinion, he quit because it was all mental and conditioning. He didn't have the conditioning to keep up. That was the problem. He simply didn't have the conditioning to keep up. So, he couldn't physically keep up conditioning wise. So he couldn't physically keep up conditioning wise. So that's the problem. He couldn't physically keep up with the conditioning. So I think seeing how heavy he was breathing. I remember they wasn't even halfway through the fight. How heavy he was breathing. I noticed that he couldn't keep up with the conditioning. He couldn't keep up with the conditioning. And at the end of the day, and it just wasn't like, oh, he didn't train hard enough. He came in slimmer. It was the feints. Watch my prediction video, my reaction video. It was the feints. Like when you got somebody famous, when they control, like when you let guys like Alexander Usyk control you with the lead hand, it's over with. There's certain guys that if they get, it's like a layup. It's like Steph Curry seeing the ball go through the hole. Once they get that jab going, you know, they control that lead hand. It's pretty much a wrap. It's hard. It's hard to break. It's hard to break. It's hard to break that cycle. It's hard to break that cycle. When they got that lead hand going, and then he got the foot feints going, then he got the arm feints going, then he got the speed, and then he moved, the minute he just fatigued. And then when you fatigue, and then when you can't fight back, he couldn't fight back. He couldn't defend himself no more. So, I mean, from that standpoint, I don't think he quit because of the abuse. He quit not because of the physical abuse. He in a way, you can make it that case, but he quit because he was tired. He was mentally tired. He was physically tired, and he couldn't defend himself no more. That's why you would say he quit. And you could say, well, he's mentally not tough enough, and we know that about British fighters. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like they don't have the grit or the toughness, or they don't have that. They don't have the grit or the toughness. I think we all can acknowledge that they have a lot of that British heavyweights have a reputation for not being tough. Now, a lot of their fighters are tough. A lot of they fighters in general outside of the division, they have a certain toughness and grit. Fury being the anomaly, right? And being tough, but I'm not one to say. I defended him when he busted his eye, but you got to remember when you appear, an active peer, it better not be no footage you quitting. You got to remember that. Billy Joe Saunders talked about Dan Dubois and quitting versus Joel Joyce. He got in there with the same situation. He quit versus Canelo Alvarez. So it's easy to say, I died in that bitch. It is easy, bro. Like, it takes a certain type of person like Muhammad Ali to fight with a broken jaw, or a certain type of person like Anayo Nuyuwa to fight with a broken orbital bone. You know what I'm saying? It's everybody's different. Everybody's different. So I'm not here to judge nobody. I seen people get slapped in the street and it's fight or flight. And a lot of the average guy is flight. The average man, just in general, and about most of the niggas talking online, they get slapped in the street, they gone. It's a flight thing. They out of there. Some motherfuckers' reaction is, hey, get into the fight. You slap me, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. And we just gonna tussle. But everybody is wired different. And, in my opinion, I'm not qualified to say that he quit. Because everybody got a threshold. I mean, you ever watch Casino when he was torturing that Irish guy? He was tough as fuck, but even he broke at the end. Everybody got a breaking point. Everybody got a breaking point. And then you go in there and then your eye fall out the socket or whatever like that. Your eye fall out, and then who else gonna be there for you? You, and then the whole thing about Tim Tszyu. Yeah, he got up out of there. Tim Tszyu didn't want no more. You know, he tapped out. He tapped out. I mean, call it for what it is. He tapped out. He tapped out. He tapped out. I mean, you can say what you want to say, but he found a way out to fight. In the Mazalian fight, I think Tim Tszyu at some point, if that Mazalian fight never happened, or we can go back to the cut in the first fight, I think Tim Tszyu continues on. I know a lot of people saying, well, Tim Tszyu was never that good. And they wait for those moments in your career to say you wasn't that good. I disagree with that. I think he was a hell of a fighter. But his style in this particular fight, it hurt him. And I explained that in the reaction video. Not being able to, create angles and move your head. You got to be able to create angles to move your head versus Fondor. And he found a way out. But like I said, not qualified to say how much abuse he should have took. And it seemed like he was just fine. He was fighting back. And they kind of tried to say his father was the one that threw the towel in or called it, whatever. But I just felt like he was fighting back. And then he just said he didn't want to go out there no more. He had the same look before he sat in the corner. Before he sat in that corner after that last round with Fondor, he had the same look versus Mazalian after the fight. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And it's a different mentality, you know, and I hate to bring this up with him, but it's a different mentality when you have to do something. When you have to do something as a man, like I know if I don't win this fight, I got to go back to poverty. Or if I know if I don't find a way, you know, I might not have another meal. You know, that hunger. And I think people seeing it across the board, especially in American sports, they're not hungry no more. They're not hungry no more. You know, they was talking about, I think I did a shorter video on the NBA draft where they were saying that, you know, the players didn't have any more hunger. And that's sad. You know, and they tell you there's no such thing as poverty or no such thing as the middle class. You know, God, people ain't impoverished no more. People ain't hungry no more. People ain't motivated no more. Even when you see a poor man's sport like boxing and the fighter's not hungry no more in boxing, that let you know something. You know, a lot of kids used to be at a disadvantage. There's no way I feel like as a man, as a kid, you at a disadvantage if you never go outside. If you know, when you was poor, all the poor kids was outside all the time. In the project, somebody was always outside. So these kids being inside with their tablets and all that, you know, they're not hungry no more. So you don't have to do something. You don't do it. You don't, even if you do it, you don't approach it with the same tenacity. That's why chips are great to be on your shoulders. Doubts are great to be on your shoulders. But yeah, I mean, he found a way out and he still was fighting back after that round. So what happened? You know, he knew he didn't have no chance. The game plan from the second fight, from the first fight, Fandora made an adjustment. He found out, and you know, Tszyu bleeding in the first fight. If I fight behind my jab, I'm a problem. So how do you take that away? Similar to the Usyk fight, you must dominate the right hand. When a guy got a history for not wanting to use his jab, guess what? You already got a leg up. Use your jab. Use your jab, nigga. Like, use your jab. You have to steal. First thing with Fandora is to take away the jab. Either I'm going to out jab him, I'm going to counter the jab. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about Tszyu, their approach was, and I said this in a reaction video, was to hit him and hold their ground. Okay, in my opinion, you either hit him and you close the gap like he did in that last round they fought, or you hit him and you better throw 2 or 3 shots, or you hit him and you pivot out. If that's just stepping over and rolling out, basic footwork, he's so big that he has to turn toward you. He has to reset, and really at that point you can get him again. But if you're gonna stand right in front of Sebastian Fandor and hit him, and then you know stay in the pocket and not smother him, or you're gonna keep punching with him and walking him down, you're gonna keep your head on that line. No, that head got to come off that line. So when Tszyu was he was landing them big lefts. Guess what? He land that right hand. He coming back like this with his head right here. If you gonna land that right hand, hey, either hold him, right? Or if you're gonna stay there, spin out, pivot out, go again. You know, come on now. But you throwing that big right hand and you sitting right there, nah. Your head too on the line. Of course, he gotta go miss the uppercut. Hit him and get up out of there. Hit him or turn him and continue to work. But you hitting him and then walking right. Bad game plan. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's see if they would let me up in here. Hit the link tree, find me on X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, my free game 89 channel, Patreon, the whole 9. Appreciate the love and support. Peace.